a lot of Protoss players like to do and are able to easily establish. But then Zerg players have really two options right behind it. They can either try to go for an easy third base, and on Shakura's Plateau, there's plenty of bases and just plenty of open area available to them. Or I have also seen Zerg players try to use Nidus networks early on and really punish the main base, as usually all the defense is concentrated at the choke at the natural expansion. So we'll see what comes in this matchup, as we now see Hasu spawning as the green Protoss player on the bottom right hand side of the map at the 4 o'clock position. Meanwhile, tGun spawning as the pretty in pink Zerg on the top left hand side, full cross spawns. How do you think this affects the matchup?
Well, you talked about the Forge Fast Expand and the different options that Zurich has, and I think that Forge Fast Expand has become basically the standard for Protoss. We see Hasu already sending out that ninth probe down there to create that pylon. So he's going to be, or that eighth probe to create the pylon. He's going to be Forge Fast Expanding. And for a while, Zerg just didn't really know how to handle this, but we've seen so many different strategies you can go for. And I think the one that we should definitely talk about is the Leenock strategy. In the finals of MLG, it was Leenock up against Naniwa, and Naniwa Forge Fast Expanded every single game. And Leenock basically punched it with a lot of good roach play right off the start. He had a cancel on a hatchery and did a big roach play with Speedling all in. And then he had other times where he just went for a few roaches, and you can sort of poke at those cannons or force a lot of cannons. You can transition into a second base and a macro game off that. So I think that as players really experiment more and more, now that Forge Fast Expand has become so prevalent, they're going to find solutions. So it will be interesting to see what tGun's going for here. There are just so many different things he could go for. Right off the bat, he's getting his extractor and his spawning pool, so we could see some roach play. We could see, just regular 2 or 3 base as well.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen, and it's really important that Hasu knows whether or not his tGun tries to go for anything at the natural expansion. If without a hatchery there, he most likely knows that tGun is going to perhaps just try to push in. You can see a pylon already in position as the probe steals some minerals and now returning home. And we'll see whether or not this pylon will get cancelled, as some damage is being dealt. No, the pylon is done, and a photon cannon being added. So there is going to be one photon cannon down there, and that's more of a just pure harassment, as it's going to be quite some time before enough Zerglings can be built in order to finish it off. There is that supply depot on the ramp, so you cannot completely wall in your opponent there. Perhaps you can try to place some sort of proxy gateway to limit the amount of surface area and limit the walking path, but that one photon cannon is going to cause a little bit of problems and force tGun to train a lot more Zerglings than he would originally like.
Yeah, he's really going to have to. He does have 8 on the way, 6 already out. We'll see whether 8 does it. I have a feeling that it's going to be just a little bit short, especially with not being able to get a full surface area on that. But already, wow, we see an immediate rush to lair. So skipping the speed very quickly and going to lair. And it looks like those 8 Zerglings will be enough to take that down. So we see Hasu going to be a little bit behind, losing a cannon and a pylon already.
Yeah, so Hasu only taking down 4 Zerglings there, and I think it was important that Hasu, or tGun, actually forced that Overlord in. That Overlord was actually absorbing some of the shots and forcing the cooldown on the cannon. That gave the Zerglings just a little bit more time to be able to get it within melee range there, as you can now finally see the hatchery is coming into play, and we'll see what exactly the strategy will be coming in for Hasu. Hasu did get his Nexus up just slightly faster, but really not that far ahead, as we are now sitting on 24 probes versus 14 drones and no queens. That's important, but we are seeing a Nidus network come into play.
Yeah, definitely. He does not have speed. He doesn't have a Roach Warren, so it's just going to be slow lings here. That's the only thing he can really Nidus. He does have an Overlord in position 2, in fact, so he could go for a double Nidus. He's still on gas. So he could drop down at least 1 as soon as the Nidus network does pop up, and he really needs to start making a lot of lings if he wants to get aggressive with this. At the moment, he does have 16. I'm not sure whether that'll do it or not, but he's done a nice job, making sure that no scouting can be done here. He's got patrolling lings on his ramp, and that network is done, and we'll see where he places it.
Yeah, that network now starting, and it's going to be right underneath that Overlord tGun, going to be able to swarm in with Lings, and this is going to be a definite problem. Hasu has nothing in his base to really fight off against all of those Zerglings. He has one Zealot, but that Zealot is very far away on the wrong side, and now in come the Zerglings. Probes hear the Nidus Worm and know to get the heck out already. And now we're going to see perhaps a Pylon and a Photon Cannon come in, and the Probes are going to try to engage and perhaps try to save this Nexus here.
There are a lot of Lings here, though, but again, they don't have speed, so they're not going to be able to get great surrounds. And now dueling probes against these Zerglings. We'll see who wins. Zergling's doing a decent job taking down a number of probes, and I think that the Zergling's going to come out ahead in this one. The one Zealot doing his best to do work against these Lings as well, but the Ling's just too powerful. Down go 22 workers so far, so just 11 probes to the 13 drones and 16 Lings here out for tGun. tGun's already placed down a number of creep tumors as well, so the Queen going to be joining her Ling brethren here, trying to take down the remaining probes. And there's the quick GG from Hasu, and you called it right from the start, the Nidus play, and that's definitely something you can do, especially if you delay your Nexus, if you delay your Cybernetics core, and you don't have any cannons in your main and any scouting pylons around your main as well. You can definitely fall to that Nidus play.